You are listening to the Profitable Content Creator Podcast. This is the place where content creators come to learn how to create profitable content that positions themselves as an authority and grows their online businesses. Get ready to take your content to a whole new level with your host, Kristen Poborski.
Today, I'm going to show you how I got back over 15 hours a week using my AI assistants and not having to hire any more help. So if you've ever been buried under client work, calls, content, emails, and thought, I can't grow unless I hire someone, this video is going to change that for you. Because most people think scaling their business means doing more or outsourcing. But what if the bottleneck is really how you're spending your time? So here's what happened to me. I was spending over 15 hours a week doing things that I'd already been paid for, client sessions, course content, email marketing. And then I built a set of agents that helped me. Now, that time I was using for other things is mine again so that I can do things that are really going to grow my business, like marketing. So in this video, I'm going to show you how I use 3 specific agents in my business, plus the formula I use to make sure they actually work. And I've recorded quick demos of each one so you'll see them in action too. So let's dive in. Okay, so the first one I always use is a client call or coaching call assistant to create all kinds of deliverables automatically. We all do client calls. We do strategy sessions, we do coaching, we do onboarding. But what most of us don't realize is how much content, insight, and things that we can automate is hiding in those calls. So instead of letting those sessions sit in the cloud, I record them and run them through my client call assistant. And this is just one way that you can use them because I also use them to create things like proposals, coaching, all kinds of things. But this client call assistant that I'm going to show you next turns them into post-call summaries, notes, content ideas, all kinds of things, even stories that I can use later on in my business. So this means I get more ROI from every hour I spend with a client or coaching or even doing free AI and coffee sessions. I don't have to start from scratch when I'm creating those deliverables. So let me show you how my client call assistant takes real call transcripts and turns it into usable deliverables. Now, let's talk about what happens after you've delivered that training, because the next agent picks it up from there. So a lot of times I will be coaching or I'm teaching live or creating new content. It's the same thing. It's a transcript. It's recording. You don't have time to repackage it properly after each session. So my course assistant takes a transcript from a session, turns it into a training description, a step-by-step guide, and a clean, actionable checklist. This has changed how I create course content because I used to do all of that up front, and now I reverse engineer everything off of what I say in that transcript. It's like having a behind-the-scenes course producer working for me, making sure that everything I teach becomes a structured asset that can be used again and again. Every time I use that, which is a couple times a week, I save 2 to 3 hours from just having to create the course description, any kind of workbook, checklists, and more. And guess what? It even will come up with commonly asked questions that I can add into a FAQ. So here's how my course assistant transforms a messy transcript from my training into a polished course materials. Okay, so once your content is built, you need to consistently show up for your audience. And that's where this next agent takes over, okay? Every single week, I create content for my audience. And I still need to show up from that. So I needed to create an email assistant that writes weekly newsletters in my voice. This has been such a game changer for me because there's weeks where maybe I don't want to create content, but I know I need to stay in touch with my audience, give them value, things like that. So it's writing to my email list, it's a non-negotiable for me. It's one of the best ways that I know of to stay top of mind, but it's also one of the easiest things to fall behind. So my email assistant, which I'm going to show you in a minute, is trained on how I talk, what I teach, and the content that I'm already creating. And it helps me to draft my newsletter in a way that teaches them something of value and shifts their perspective and gets them to take action. It keeps a consistent tone, sounds like me because I've trained it with my best examples that get the most opens on my list, from my list, and it saves me hours by reusing real content I've already made. And when those weeks come around where I'm creating just the email, I look at those and take the highest performing pieces and turn it into video content and podcast episodes because I know that's what my audience wants. And now I can stay visible without stressing over what to write or losing a whole afternoon trying to get it right and it still sounds like me. Because I send out 2 emails a week, I save over 2 hours a week that I could be sitting there just wondering, what do I write about? What do I write about? Trying to write something. And the best thing is, it writes it better than I could myself. So let me show you behind the scenes how my email assistant writes a full newsletter from one piece of content I've already created. But here's the key to making all 3 of these most favorite agents of mine to work. And it's something that most people forget. Most people forget and think that they can say, write this or make that and expect great results. But AI doesn't really work like that unless you train it properly. Now, I know you've probably heard me talk about it when I'm doing the behind the scenes, but I use a 3-part prompt process for every agent I create. I give it a role. Who is the assistant pretending to be? Not pretending. Who are they actually be? A course designer, a strategist? I give it context, lots of context. What are they working with? A transcript, a content plan, my voice authority, examples, things like that. That all goes into this agent. Sometimes it goes into the prompt, but you can't have the prompt be too long. So then some of it goes into a knowledge base. And finally, I give it a request. What do I want them to do? Write, summarize, audit. This is what really makes these agents/assistants helpful because it thinks like a partner, not just like a tool. That's pretty much how I structure all 3 of those agents and more that I use every single day to help me get back time every single week in my business. So I got a question. Which one of these agents do you think would save you the most time, right? Leave a message down below if you want my guide setting up these agents. All you've got to do is just say agent, and I'll get that right over to you right away.
You've been listening to the Profitable Content Creator Podcast, where content creators go to learn how to take their content creation to the next level. If you love the Profitable Content Creator Podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give us a review on iTunes. Until next time.